What's up, guys? We are back here. Kurt Magoosh Sports back in the studio after a long little layoff. We're back and trying to be better than ever in this 2022 new year. And we immediately got some coaching changes happening all across the landscape of college football. Ole Miss is in a ton of trouble. I mean, the Lane train in Oxford, I don't know if it's long for Oxford, because today, DJ Durkin, the Youngstown native who played at Bowling Green as a linebacker and a guy that really helped Ole Miss go 10-2. I mean, some of those games, like I know the Arkansas game got out of control on defense for Ole Miss, but DJ Durkin, is specifically in the secondary, he did wonders with Ole Miss. This year against Tennessee, they held Tennessee to 26 points. Against A&M, they completely shut down Zach Calzada. Against LSU, they were able to stop that offensive attack as well. So DJ Durkin's really done a great job in the SEC West, and Jimbo Fisher probably experienced DJ Durkin in that dominant defense. He experienced it firsthand because DJ Durkin was able to really shut down the Aggies when the Aggies went to Oxford, Mississippi. And for DJ Durkin, this is a much better move. He's probably going to get paid more. And Texas A&M, I believe, has the #1 recruiting class in all of college football. So Texas A&M is slated to possibly contend for an SEC championship and for a national championship with the way that Marshall Malkow and this recruiting staff, with the way that they recruited at Texas A&M. They got so many guys at the Under Armour All-American game this week. Of course, DJ Durkin comes with baggage. I mean, we remember the tragedy of the Maryland football player where DJ Durkin was on hand for that, and he didn't take any precautionary measures to try to, save the kid's life, and that was very, very unfortunate what ended up happening, and it cost him his job at Maryland, but he was not very good at Maryland anyway. I think he went like 6-6 and 4-8, but the guy is a very good defensive coordinator. He was a defensive coordinator at Michigan. I believe he was at Bowling Green under Urban Meyer, so he's been around some excellent coaches like Jim Harbaugh, Urban Meyer, and he's really helped out Ole Miss in this defense. And now DJ Durkin, I mean, the move for Texas A&M also makes sense because who's going to end up hiring DJ Durkin with his past, with his baggage? It's not like DJ Durkin is going to leave College Station. I mean, maybe he could like Mike Elko, but it seems like a guy that's a fit for the long haul with Jimbo Fisher and with Texas A&M football. It's a very interesting hire. Is this going to be a hire that kids are going to want to play for? Again, you can use his past against him when you're recruiting against DJ Durkin. But in the back end, I mean, he's proved with this Ole Miss secondary. I mean, what a turnaround this year. 10-2, shutting down Tennessee. They beat Arkansas on the schedule. Mississippi State in that offense was pretty much shut down in the Egg Bowl. So they won games like 31-20, and they really held teams in check. I mean, Alabama, it got ugly. Against Auburn, they were a little bit sloppy. And, of course, against Arkansas, that game is an anomaly and probably makes their statistics on the season go way out of whack because that game was an aberration in every direction. It was like 53-52. It was a complete shootout there. So it's tough, when you're DJ Durkin and you're working alongside Lane Kiffin and Jeff Lebby, the pace is going to be up. So your numbers, again, defensively are also probably going to be higher because you have more reps, you're spending more time on the field because your offense is snapping the ball quicker, so there's more plays in a game and more chances to give up yardage when you look at yardage. But Ole Miss, I mean, back in the day when they had Matt Luke and even Hugh Freeze, their defense wasn't, I mean, with Hugh Freeze, their defense was okay, but with Matt Luke, their defense wasn't really near where it needed to be. So I think that this is a good hire for Texas A&M, and really whoever is running this defense is going to be in charge of an absolute juggernaut. I mean, what Texas A&M is doing on the recruiting trail is absolutely unbelievable, for a school that hasn't won a national championship, I believe, hasn't made a playoff, is not really a perennial powerhouse, was kind of a school that was, middle of the pack, average Big 12 school, but all that money, them going to the SEC, them paying Jimbo Fisher, Johnny Manziel, Kevin Sumlin, and now Jimbo's one of the highest paid coaches in America. So the money that they have to put into that football program that the Aggies have in College Station, the facilities, the recruiting, the money that they're spending now on assistant coaches. It's why Texas A&M, of course, with their recruiting, they're in position to compete for a national championship. You look at why Alabama and Georgia were able to beat Cincinnati and Michigan, it's because the recruiting rankings were not even close in the SEC. So DJ Durkin, again, he has the best seat in all of college football. He gets to coach the best defense, and maybe even after 3 or 4 years, maybe he might get an opportunity at a Power 5 job. Again, he actually is only going to be 44 years old, but he's done a really nice job at Ole Miss, and he gets the gig at Texas A&M. And again, for Ole Miss, Wilson Love, their strength and conditioning coach, ends up leaving to go to Oregon. Jeff Lebby leaves, and in comes a 28-year-old Charlie Weiss Jr., who, of course, his dad was instrumental to Tom Brady in New England and is a long-time coach. I mean, Lane Kiffin can of course, mentor Charlie Weiss Jr., and Charlie Weiss Jr. was also at Florida Atlantic with Kendall Briles. But again, you're losing out on Briles, or you're losing out on Jeff Lebby. We'll see if Lane Kiffin can get kind of an air raid guy to also supplement Charlie Weiss Jr. And for Ole Miss, I mean, they're really going to have to, because again, the recruiting on defense in Oxford, I don't think it's anywhere close to the top of the SEC West. And now you're going to need a defensive coordinator that's going to compete and do a better job than DJ Durkin, and it's going to be really tough to accomplish that.